Throughout this guide, I will be talking about how to play as Lucario, the Aura Pokemon. The main thing to keep in mind here is that he's a very flexible and adaptive character. Whereas most characters excel in one area, he's better at playing around with opponents and being able to handle most aspects of competitive play. The guide will be organised into 3 different sections. Part 1 is going to be a basic introduction to him, which will go into his main attributes, as well as his main mechanic, being Aura. The second part will be a moveset and kit breakdown, which will go into all of his moves individually, as well as the functions that they provide. We'll also be going into the basic and advanced combo trees that he has access to. Part 3 will go into one move in particular, being Aura Sphere. Aura Sphere has way too many applications and functions, and is simply one of the most versatile projectiles in the entire game. In this section, we'll also be going into how to properly edge trap and ledge guard with this move as well. Lucario plays quite differently compared to most of the cast. While with most characters you want to stick to one game plan and see that game plan through, Lucario benefits more from punishing mistakes made during the game and having very free-flow, expressive movement. With his great movement, he can be played both aggressively as well as a zoner, but preferably he should be played as a bait and punish. Towards the later stages of the game, your game plan changes from chipping away at your opponent and becoming more of trying to read your opponent in order to land one of your many kill confirms on them and to keep them pressured by the ledge. As a Lucario player, you want to try and keep your opponents in shield as much as possible. Keeping them stationary allows you to set up situations which will let you take the stocks as early as possible. This can be done with well-planned conditioning. To put it simply, Aura is Lucario's main comeback mechanic, where the strength of your moves increases depending on how much percent he has. There are more factors to this than just his percent, such as if he's ahead or behind in stocks, but to keep it simple, we will only be focusing on percent here. There's already a mechanic in Smash called Rage, where a character's damage and knockback increases depending on how much percent they have, but Lucario is basically this multiplied by tenfold. There's a lot to factor in with Aura, and something you can only really learn with time. But the main key point to follow is that when you're at low percents, you'll want to focus on getting the most out of your combos after getting the first initial hit. Whereas at higher percents, you're going to instead want to focus on creating pressure and keeping them at ledge with both your amazing edge guarding and your ledge trapping. Thankfully, Lucario has pretty good movement all around. Not only does he boast one of the highest air speeds in the entire game, he also boasts one of the fastest initial dashes too. The rest of his attributes otherwise are fairly average, with his weight being his main weakness. Unlike his Smash 4 version, he has lost a lot of weight in Ultimate and is fairly light all things considered. To put it into perspective, Inkling is actually slightly heavier than him. In this section of the guide, we're going to be going into all of Lucario's moves. This is going to include his normals, his aerials, his smash attacks, as well as his throws and his specials. Before the newest patch, I would have said that Lucario's jab is really bad and should not be used in most situations. However, due to the newest patch, it now comes out on frame 5 instead of frame 7 previously. This now makes it his fastest grounded option in front of him. However, the move does not lead into any combos due to the massive end lag on the final hit. Where this move really shines though is if your opponent misses a tech from one of your other moves. This lets you be able to follow up with a jab lock combo. Lucario is a very vast jab lock combo game, and we'll be going into this later on when we cover his throws. Unlike his jab, forward tilt has a few more uses and is generally just more useful during the neutral. The move can be angled both upwards and downwards. While the upwards version is good at anti-airing against aggressive options, the downwards version can be used to 2-frame against certain recoveries. The move actually has 2 hitboxes, which can be useful if your opponent is trying to parry the move in the first place. Though do keep in mind that the move is frame 12, making it much slower than jab. Combined with pivot cancelling, Lucario actually covers a decent amount of distance when the move is used. At low to medium percent, repeated pivot cancelled F tilts could be used to carry opponents across the stage, assuming that they miss the attack or that they attack in place. Lucario's down tilt, in my personal opinion, is his best grounded move to use during the neutral. Although the move comes out on frame 9, it ends relatively quickly and, depending on aura, is usually between -9 to -5 on shield. At higher aura, this makes it safe against most things that aren't the fastest of outer shield options. The move is also an excellent combo starter as well. At really low percents, the move can combo into dash grab, leading to throw combos. At slightly higher percents however, dash grab no longer really works, so you should use dash attack instead. There is a really tight window where down tilt can actually combo into a attack cancelled back air. This is really great to use closer to the edge as it can score a really early KO. Up tilt is another great grounded option that serves a similar purpose like down tilt. This is the fastest grounded option available to him starting from behind him at frame 6. This makes the move excellent at punishing cross-ups, and it can also be used as an anti-air against certain aggressive approaches. At starting percents, up tilt can combo into grab against the majority of the cast, with very floaty characters being the exception. Otherwise, at starting to low percents, the move can combo into either itself multiple times, as well as either up air or forward air strings depending on DI, as well as which part of the move connects. Depending on the amount of aura Lucario has, the late hit of up tilt can true combo into up air. Lucario's dash attack is deceptively quick with the move starting at frame 7. The move should only be sparingly used in order to break distance during the neutral with a moving hitbox, as well as to whiff punish in situations where you may not be able to do so otherwise. Dash attack is also his laggiest grounded option though, and whiffing it will likely mean that you're going to get punished. Try to use the move as close as you can to your opponent, as the move will cross up on their shield. The move also has a sweet spot on the first few frames of the move being active, which can kill earlier than you would expect to with enough aura. Moving on to his aerials, neutral air is without a single doubt the best move in his entire kit. The only real negative thing that can be said about neutral air is that it starts on frame 10, making it fairly slow and not usable to break out of strings. Otherwise, this move kinda does everything else. Lucario's Nair is the safest aerial in the entire game, with landing Nair being at worst -2 on shield if he's got no aura, and at high aura just simply being 0. In simple man's terms, this basically makes the move virtually unpunishable. This also makes it so that every single time you land with Nair against an opponent's shield, it's kind of a guessing game, like rock, paper, scissors. If you're expecting an aggressive outer shield option after you land, you can just hold shield and then punish whatever option you're going to use afterwards, though this will lose to grab. If you're expecting a grab, you can instead spot dodge and then just punish them after that, though this will lose against patient play. And against patient play, you can just grab immediately after landing, though this will lose straight back to the aggressive out of shield option. If you aren't feeling confident in any option, you can instead opt to just either jump, roll, or otherwise disengage from the opponent to reset neutral. If you're also facing away from the opponent with landing Nair, you can immediately buffer an up tilt, which will call them out on every shield grab in the game, as well as slower out of shield options. Lucario's Nair is also an excellent combo starter, extender, and finisher as well. At low percents, it can combo into both down tilt and up tilt, depending on which direction Lucario is facing, which can then lead into the combos discussed earlier. At low to medium percents, the move can also combo into a dash grab. At high percents, the move will no longer combo, but instead it becomes an excellent edge guarding tool that can gimp a fair number of casts if they burn their double jump way too early when recovering back to ledge. There's also a few other niche uses to always keep in mind when using Nair as well. At medium percents, Nair will always send opponents at a low angle and will force a tech situation. If Lucario is at hype aura, he can either read a tech in place or a missed tech with forward smash, which can take stocks incredibly early. Otherwise, Lucario can instead cover every option except for Rollin with Aura Sphere, but then that can just be reacted to instead. Neutral Air is also a great pressure tool to use against opponents on platforms due to its very low end lag. Lucario's Forward Air is his main combo tool and is what he'll usually be using during the advantage. The move comes out on frame 7, which makes it one of his faster options available to him. The move can combo into either itself, up air, and neutral air. The great thing about Fair though is that the move has very little end lag, which allows Lucario to use all of his other aerials before landing. Double Fair is usually a fine aggressive option to use against zoners, while using a Nair, Dare, or Up Air can be a good mix-up to use on an opponent's shield as you land. In particular, Rising Fair into Falling Bear is incredible at crossing up on an opponent's shield. If they drop their shield early, they may just die from the back air. Otherwise, due to Lucario's great movement speed, it can usually be very safe too. Down Air is both Lucario's fastest aerial, as well as the fastest move in his entire kit, starting at frame 4. Sadly, it's his best out of shield option, which isn't saying much, as although the move comes out really quickly, it covers a very small area right beneath his feet. Otherwise, Dare is an excellent move to edgeguard with, as the full length of the move is disjointed. The knockback of the move depends on which side of the move the opponent was hit on. If it's towards the stage, it can score an early KO if it fails to tech the stage, whereas if it's away from the stage, it will likely either kill them outright or set them up to be easily edgeguarded again. Lucario's down air will also always cause a tech situation from 0 until low percents. Lucario's up air is used to keep opponents above you during the advantage. As mentioned earlier, it can be comboed into from his up tilt as well as from his up throw. The move can also be used while landing, but it is somewhat laggy and should be used sparingly, if at all. At higher amounts of aura, the move will take stocks, but it isn't his main killing aerial. His back air, however, is. His back air starts on frame 13, which makes it his slowest aerial option. And it also has enough landing lag to make it something that cannot be used without good spacing. Though when spaced correctly, it is safe against shield. You will usually take stocks with back air from usually a jump read, as most opponents will respect this move. Moving on to Lucario smash attacks. Generally, all of them have a large amount of starting lag and end lag, which makes them very unsafe. What they lack in safety though is an absurd amount of knockback, making them some of the strongest smash attacks in the entire game when at higher aura. Forward Smash, in particular, is his most powerful move and is likely the smash attack you'll be using the most. Although the move starts at frame 19, many players will overly respect this move, so it can be somewhat safe. The best time to use this move is to punish reckless approaches as well as to punish landing aerials. Before the newest patch, I would have said his down smash is just a worse version of forward smash. However, with the new frame data buffs this move has had, it can now be used in conjunction with jab to steal stocks at a really early percent. Aside from this, it can also be used to cover both sides of Lucario, which could be useful in situations such as if the opponent is in freefall. Up smash, otherwise, is his fastest smash attack, which comes out on frame 15. The move has two small hitboxes on both sides of him, which both serve to scoop the opponent into the main hitbox, which steals stocks extremely early. Up smash is able to hit opponents on a platform, but it does not cover the entirety of it, so it could be used if you have a good idea of where the opponent is going to go if they miss attack on the platform. Moving on to Lucario's grab game, there isn't anything too remarkable to mention about his grabs. His standing grab comes out on frame 7, whereas his dash grab comes out on frame 10, which is the universal average for most of the cast. His pivot grab is disjointed and is able to catch aggressive approaches. Generally, you want to use your grab during one of your low percentage combos when possible, as all of his grabs have a lot of end lag. Lucario's up throw is his main combo throw and will generally combo into his aerials from 0 to around 60%, though his aura and the opponent's weight heavily factor into this. At low percents, with low aura, up throw can combo into his fair and into another aerial depending on the DI after the fair. At higher amounts of aura and at higher percents, up throw can only really combo into another up air. Lucario's second best throw to use otherwise is his back throw, which should only be used as a mix-up at roughly medium percents, where up throw could still combo. The move sends at a very low angle and can be followed up with a tech chase. If you are confident that they will miss the tech, you can instead start a jab lock combo. There are a few options you can use after the jab lock combo as well. Down tilt into attack cancelled back air is the most guaranteed option to go for when missing the tech on back throw. Whereas up tilt into up air is the easier one to execute, but is not true. Thanks to a newest patch that came out recently, you can now instead also do a jab into down smash, which I believe has a 4 frame window. This can kill really early at high aura. His forward throw does not serve any practical purpose and is usually only used for stage positioning and to keep the opponents off the stage. His down throw is his worst throw and should rarely be used. It's simply a worse up throw that does less damage. Double Team has the privilege of being one of the quickest counters in the entire game, starting at frame 5, and remains active up until frame 24. Due to Double Team starting so early, it can be used to punish anyone who's recklessly using moves in advantage. Double Team is unique as the strength of the counter is based on how much aura Lucario has, unlike other counters which are dependent on the strength of the move being used. Force Palm is a frame 9 command grab that launches opponents upwards and away when the move connects. As a command grab, the move is a really good option to use against opponents that have been conditioned to shield by your other moves. If the command grab section of the move misses, he will instead shoot out a projectile called Force Palm Flame. Force Palm is one of the very few grabs in the entire game that can beat box dodge. Lucario can Tomahawk with Force Palm in order to shave off the initial starting frames of the move. This can be especially useful on platforms. As Lucario's aura increases, the knockback growth of the move increases drastically, making it one of his most reliable kill moves. Extreme Speed sends Lucario in a direction depending on where the player holds the control stick. The move's trajectory can also be altered by changing the input while recovering. On the last frame of Extreme Speed being active, Lucario has one giant hitbox, as well as when Lucario collides into the ground, which can catch some players off guard. Lucario can also cling to a wall during a recovery, which mixes up his options even further. As Lucario builds more aura, the total speed and distance of the move increases. Starting with the basics, Aura Sphere is Lucario's most important tool to use in the neutral, as it is his main projectile that forces opponents to approach, shield, and otherwise condition them to act how you want them to. Pressing the special button once will start to charge a sphere, and pressing it again will launch it. During the charging animation, you can store the charge by either shielding, jumping, or by taking any other defensive action. The move will be fully charged when the sphere no longer grows in size, at which point pressing the button in neutral state will just fire it instead. As Lucario's percent builds, so does the size of the sphere. This is especially important to him, as Lucario's Aura Sphere is the only projectile in the entire game that has an active hitbox while charging. Opponents that are caught in this hitbox can be comboed into with his aerials, as well as a few other moves. What separates Aura Sphere from other similar projectiles is the plethora of movement options and tech that can be applied to this move. Very few characters benefit from erratic movement in the way that Lucario does, to the point where I believe having a firm understanding on all the tech here is a must-have. Inputting a direction on the control stick and pressing special afterwards will cause Lucario to turn around as he charges his sphere. When used in the air, he will face a different direction, but he will keep the same momentum. This can be especially useful when approaching and retreating during the neutral and when ledge guarding. A V-reverse, on the other hand, is a turnaround, but it also completely reverses the momentum of Lucario when he's in the air. The inputs to this are the exact opposite of a turnaround, so instead of flicking the stick and then pressing special, you would instead press special and then flick the stick immediately afterwards. Due to Lucario's great air speed, this can be used in many different ways, such as faking out your opponents on where you're going to land in disadvantage, as well as being able to retreat from an aggressive option while retaliating with a hitbox of sphere in one swift motion. A wave bounce in particular combines both a turnaround and a V-reverse to allow Lucario to shift his momentum while facing the same direction. To do this, you would need to initially do a turnaround special, and after pressing special you would need to flick the stick in the opposite direction, as if you're doing the V-reverse. The inputs for this aren't really easy. I personally find it easier to do this by making sure I have as little movement as possible in the analog stick. Both of these techs are completely exclusive to any characters that have a charge move. When paired with a fast initial dash like Lucario, along with his projectile, it becomes a very reliable way of approaching opponents that have been conditioned to shield. Charge storage cancel can be performed by pressing and releasing the shield button in 4 frames or less. It's basically like short hopping, but for shield. Doing this will instantly cancel the charge and return Lucario to a neutral state. You'll know that you've done this right when Lucario's shield never appears during the animation. Doing this on a GameCube triggered button is fairly hard. I would advise having one of the facing buttons set to shield to help to do this consistently. After the initial cancel, you can pretty much do anything. Moving towards the opponents would be a more aggressive option, whereas prematurely attacking could be considered more defensive. You could even do some mind games and just start charging sphere again if they're hesitating. Charge jump cancelling otherwise is just the aerial version of this tech, which achieves the exact same result. To do this, you would need to press the jump button within 5 frames of landing while charging Aura Sphere. The timing for this can be a little precise, but once you get the basic timing down, it becomes much easier to apply it in different situations. Just keep in mind that the tech requires you to keep your double jump. An Aura Sphere charge combo, or ASE combo for short, is basically a combo where you're using the hitbox or sphere in order to combo into other aerials as well as other moves like smash attacks. In general, Lucario should be at around 50% before these can be used reliably as a combo starter. ASC into Day is the main combo to do at lower percents and will work in almost every situation. At lower percents, it can force people to a attack situation, or otherwise set you up to react to the options that they may take afterwards. ASC into Nair otherwise will start to work at around mid-high percents, but it doesn't serve too much of a purpose other than being a different option that can be taken. ASC into Bear works at higher percents, especially at higher aura, and works as one of Lucario's main kill confirms. Likewise, ASC into Up Air is another kill confirm that will start to work at even higher percents if it's needed. ASC into Up Smash can be used to take stocks at a really early percent, but this confirm isn't the most reliable, so use with caution. And due to the recent patch that we've just had, ASC into Down Smash could be a new kill confirm that Lucario mains have. This is very experimental, so it may not be true, but it's worth trying out. In a lot of the games, you may catch the opponent in shield while they're stuck in the hitbox of Aura Sphere. There are a few options that can be taken here as well. If you are certain that they're not buffering an attack, you can cancel the sphere into both grab and force palm grab. Grab should be used at lower percents to combo for more percent, whereas force palm should be used at kill percents to take the stock. In other cases, they may buff a grab, but there's counterplay to this as well. Opponents that know the matchup well may do other options, such as roll and jump. If they're caught in shield, be prepared to learn their habits, and know what they're likely to do so that you can capitalize on them. Aura Sphere is an incredibly dangerous tool to use when the opponent is both off stage as well as when they're by the ledge. What makes it so useful is that you can mix up both your edge guarding and your ledge trapping to always keep them on their toes. Edge guarding definitely carries more risk if you mess up and give up your stage control, but it has its rewards. In terms of your aerials, both Nair and Dare can be used to keep your opponents away, and at higher aura, both of these may just outright kill. Lucario can also deal with recoveries fairly well too. Against recoveries with a hitbox, you can snap to the ledge and counter at high aura for an easy KO. Whereas with recoveries with no hitboxes, you can U-reverse Aura Sphere towards the ledge to set up for an easy ASC into Bay. Where Lucario shines though is in his ledge trapping. We will not be going into any universal setups that every character has here, but those setups are also important to know as well. Instead, we'll be focusing on Lucario specific setups using Aura Sphere. Charging a sphere at roll distance covers every option that the opponent can take except for jump, which can just be hard called out by jumping and shooting the sphere instead. If the opponent rolls, they will be caught in its hitbox, which can be easily cancelled into. If they choose to wait too long, you can just throw the sphere as it will catch underneath ledge. Charging sphere by the ledge itself also has merit. On neutral get up and jump, they will either get caught by the sphere or be stuck in shield. If they roll, you can easily throw the sphere instead. Get up attack will beat this setup, but you can preemptively shield to catch this and punish accordingly. And since you've made it all the way here, I just wanted to say thank you very much for watching this video till the end by here. I believe this is going to be about half an hour long once I'm done with editing everything here. A lot has happened actually in the last half a year or so. I initially started this back in early 2020, but you know, what took over the entire planet. Plus, I've completely moved place now, different location, different house, so a lot has happened. I just wanted to make this just to have some form of like summary or glossary of a character just out there for people who are interested in learning him. There's a few videos out there, but they all go into like either very basic stuff, or they're just things which people probably already know. I just felt like there wasn't like any sort of like super comprehensive guide on him compared to the other characters out there. But I mean, that makes sense, since he's really underrated, probably like the least popular character in this game, thinking about it. I do have other things in mind which I plan to do in the future. Just smaller videos really, perhaps going over some of the matches I've had when I actually am able to play this game offline competitively again and have some replay saved. Maybe just some other things like how I just go about practicing all the movement and tech, because I do jump on Smash like once a week at least to just keep myself not rusty. Maybe it'd be good to go through things like that for people who are struggling with that type of stuff. But I'm rambling now. Thank you very much for watching, and if you like what you see, just feel free to stick around.